Elasticity of demand is the study of responsiveness, how proportionally demand responds to changes in price or income. The elasticity of a particular good or service is represented by its elasticity coefficient, which depends on the percentage change of demand to a change in price or income. Knowing about elasticity is important for firms because with it they can increase their total revenue, quantity sold multiplied by price per unit, by either increasing or decreasing price.
The price elasticity of demand, how proportionately the demand for a particular good responds to a change in the price of it, categorizes goods as price elastic or inelastic. A good is price elastic if there is a more than proportionate change in quantity demanded in response to a price change, and a good is price inelastic if the change in demand is less than proportionate to the change in price. Picture here the stick man being price increasing and the stick dog being the demand increasing. A good is unitary if the change in demand is proportionately the same as the change in price. The coefficient of price elasticity of demand is calculated as by the percentage change in quantity demanded over the percentage change in price. Because demand always decreases as price rises and increases as price falls, there is an inverse relationship between the two, so coefficient of price elasticity is always negative. The coefficient tells us whether the good is price inelastic or elastic. If the coefficient is between 0 and -1, the good is price inelastic, since the percentage change in quantity demanded is less than the percentage change in price. If the coefficient is less than -1, the good is price elastic as the change in demand is greater than the change in price. A unitary good has a coefficient of exactly -1. What determines how price elastic a good is? First is the availability of substitutes, rival products. The more substitutes there are available, the more elastic demand is, as there is a greater number of consumers moving to or away from the good depending on price changes. Secondly, necessities, such as electricity, are more price inelastic as consumers still need to buy them even if the price changes. Habit-forming goods, such as alcohol or caffeine, tend to also be price inelastic as users are willing to spend more on them to satisfy their cravings. Time is also a factor in elasticity. Goods often are more price elastic in the long term as they have more time to react to changes in, for example, fuel, by switching to a bike or trains, but this takes time. Price elasticity is important for firms as it determines whether they should raise or lower prices to increase total revenue. If a good is price inelastic, a firm should raise prices as there will be a less than proportionate drop in quantity demanded, so total revenue increases. If a good is price elastic, the firm should lower prices as the quantity demanded will increase more than the drop in price, again bringing in more money.
Income elasticity of demand is how responsive demand is to a change in income. The formula for income elasticity is percentage change in quantity demanded over the percentage change in income. The coefficient of income elasticity depends on the type of good. Let's take an example of ready meals, which is an inferior good. By definition, this means as income increases, less people will want to buy ready meals, so demand will decrease. This means the coefficient for inferior good is negative. For normal goods, as income increases, demand will increase, as consumers will be able to buy more of a product, so the coefficient is positive. However, we can split normal goods into necessities and luxuries. Take bread, for example. It's pretty essential as a cheap source of nourishment, so if your income dropped, you would probably still buy a similar amount. Therefore, the change in quantity demanded is proportionately less than the change in price, so it is income inelastic. On the other hand, something like a Rolex, which is a luxury good, will have a far greater change in demand as income rises, since you don't tend to buy Rolexes when you're struggling financially. Quick side note, the coefficient for income elasticity of a good may not always be constant. A car may be seen as a necessity to a UK citizen, but not to a poorer man in Central Africa, for instance.
cross-price elasticity of demand is how demand for one good responds to a change in price of another good. It is calculated by the change in quantity demanded for one good, call it X, over the percentage change in the price of another good, Y. The coefficient of cross-price elasticity depends on the type of good. Substitute goods versus complementary goods. For example, Renaults and Peugeots are substitute goods. If the price of Renaults increase, more people will transfer to buying Peugeots. Similarly, if the price of Renaults decrease, demand for Peugeots will decrease. In either case, the coefficient is positive, since demand increases as price increases, and demand decreases as price decreases. For complementary goods, such as tennis rackets and tennis balls, if the price of rackets were to go up, less people will buy tennis balls, since fewer people will buy tennis rackets. On the other hand, demand for tennis balls will increase as the price of tennis rackets falls. In either case, the coefficient for complementary goods is negative. Elasticity is important for firms selling goods, as without it, they would not know whether it is best to raise or lower prices to maximize profits. With it, they can correctly manipulate their prices to best take advantage of consumer demand and earn themselves some extra cash, which is always nice.